Test, test, test. Haha, that's how I start every episode. I never leave it in, but now I was like, why don't I just leave it in the episode? Hello. Welcome to the third episode of the Six-Figure Secrets series. Wow, that's a whole mouthful. I was just going through all of my DMs and the questions I've been getting about the Six-Figure Secrets series. So the first episode 2 weeks ago was about why you're not hitting six figures yet. And the second episode was about launches that aren't selling. And I was thinking of creating an episode for you today that is about how to create content that actually gets you your dream clients, because this is a question I get a lot. Like, how do you stand out? How do you actually attract the clients of your dreams? So that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. Tune in after the little jingle mop thingy and let's go get you some clients. Hello, and welcome to Fail to Win, a show where we love to make mistakes and learn from them so you can turn your passion into profits and live life on your own terms. I'm Amy van der Putten from FastForwardAmy, your host and coach, and I'll bring you a new episode with simple strategies every Tuesday. By the way, always getting that question in my DMs, how do I attract my dream clients? I'm like, follow my entire programs. Like, there's no way I can explain all of it in one episode, which is why I'm going into the content route. Obviously, attracting your dream clients, you gotta think of, for example, your reputation. You gotta be able to actually handle them. Like, there's so many factors that come into play as to why people sign up with you. But today I hope to walk you through a couple of things that you could be doing in your content to actually attract your dream clients. And I think the first part has to do with just simply realizing that your client's wallet is not necessarily your wallet, but maybe it should be. And here's what I mean by that. I see a lot of people who want to attract high-end clients, but who really hold back from investing in things themselves. So let's look at, for example, maybe a health coach who really wants to attract people for like gym workouts and stuff, but they themselves are still stuck in a loop of, I need to do everything myself. I think this is a first check to do with yourself. For example, my mastermind is currently priced at 40,000 euros. I have spent more than that on masterminds. I have spent way more than that on coaching. I've spent hundreds of thousands in the past couple of years. I feel very confident offering something at this price point because I also know what it feels like to spend this money at that price point and what you expect as a client to get in return for it. And I always continue to invest in myself. So I feel confident about that price point. And the universe weirdly feels good about it too, because it's basically like what goes around comes back around. On the other hand, I want to point out that it's not because you're offering something expensive like a painting. Maybe you're a painter and you've painted something really, really beautiful and you can't imagine someone would pay more for it, but a collector would pay more money for it than you currently have. Your wallet is not necessarily your client's wallet in many cases. But to be honest, that's something I've been saying for years. And I know that it can sound, it can sound really amazing. Like, let's imagine you are someone who wants to put their first product out there, but you're working towards six figures. So we're not talking about your first product. We're talking about you wanting to level up. If you want to level up and attract more clients that are of the level up variety, maybe you also need to step into the level up version is what I want to say. This is kind of like I just want to have some buttons go on in your brain while listening to this episode, because as I said, obviously I can talk to you about attracting dream clients all day long, but I think it has to do with identity, like stepping into that identity. If you are never willing to learn from other people or invest in yourself, you can't really expect someone to do that and invest in you. And I think, for example, for me, what happened with my mastermind is I worked on my health a lot in the past couple of years, on my branding, everything. And basically just like my whole identity shifted. And what I've noticed is that the people I've attracted in my mastermind are also all people who barely drink alcohol. They eat really healthily. They have really good habits in place. Like, they really, really take care of their health. And I am convinced that they wouldn't have chosen me as their coach in my 40K program if I wouldn't have been that person. I think 3 years ago, same situations, same clients, same type of money, I don't think they would have chosen me as their coach, because I'm in a different identity right now. And I also exude that. And a part of that was, it was a conscious decision. And I think this is kind of like what I want to tell you is, a lot of people tell me, oh, you look so radiant and so glowy and this and that. And a part of that is true. I sleep better, my skin is glowing more, all of that stuff. I lost some weight, less stress and all of that. And I also chose to just focus on those things more and not show my face without the glow, for example. So rarely will I still show myself when I'm not feeling well or when I'm in my sweats, because I've made a little bit of a brand decision that I want to be that person that people can kind of like aspire to be or look up to, or at least feel very confident putting their money in. I see a lot of people constantly posting about the shit show that is their life, their personal life, all of that stuff. And at the same time, then they wonder and they come to me asking like, hey, why am I not getting sales? And I think there's a little bit of a disconnect between wanting to build a personal brand and thinking that you need to put your entire life out there, and then also expecting people to trust you with their money. All of this is the identity. So right before I started the series, so that's 3 episodes ago, I created an episode about, do you have to show your face in order to build an online business? And in the episode, you can find a couple of tips of things I explain as to like how you can bring personality into your brand without showing your entire personal life. I don't think, so let's take me and Jonathan, for example. We have a really great relationship. I know that a lot of people online are also like very happy for me because they know I went through a really heavy breakup. I have this really good relationship right now. I'm a successful woman, and in my audience, there's a lot of women who are like, oh, how do you find a man who's not intimidated? All of that. I get these questions a lot. So obviously, we also have difficult moments in our relationship. But I will choose very, very carefully what I show, because of that relationship and me having a man that's not intimidated by me has kind of become a part of what I'm putting out there. And it's true. So when we have difficulties, it's not about that. We rarely actually have difficulties, but it might be about something else. But if I would put some of that difficulty out there in my brand, and someone, you know, people don't always read everything. They don't read all of the context. Then maybe they would remember something else about it. So I will consciously highlight the things that I want people to know. So I will continue to highlight. I made a reel last night about advice for all single, ambitious women, and that you should never settle, and that the right man won't be intimidated, but he will be inspired. So that is the message about my relationship I will continue to give. Does that mean I'm lying about other stuff? No, it's just that I'm not going to post a picture of us in a fight, although we rarely fight, as I said. You get what I'm saying? I'm highlighting the thing my ideal client also wants or has or needs. I closed a client a couple of months ago. I had a sales call with her, and then she was thinking about it. She was quite convinced she was going to do it. And then I went to do grocery shopping. I know she eats very, very healthily. And I actually took a picture of my grocery cart and put it on my stories. And I knew it would be a cart with stuff that she would approve of. Within 5 minutes of her replying to that story, I also got her payment in for my mastermind. Does this mean I tweaked my cart? No. I just posted a picture of something I knew she would like. My very best tip, like in all of this, I hope you're getting some stuff out of it. And you might be thinking, wow, everything you do is strategic. Most of it is strategic. It's also a business. It's not a hobby when I'm running. And also I'm never lying. I'm just highlighting certain things, which is basically just like strategy and marketing. So many people post content from where they're at, and they forget to think about, who do I want to attract? Who is that person? What do they want from you? What do they expect from you? And that's the stuff I put out there. So for example, for me, one of my values is family. I spend a lot of time with my family, and I will show that. Sometimes I won't show their faces, also stuff I talk about in the 3 episodes ago one. But I will talk about it, spending time with my parents. We'll post a picture of like the table setting, whatnot. And I've noticed that often when I ask clients, why do you want to work with me? They tell me, oh, I want to work with you because you also, like, you work hard, but you still have a life and you really spend a lot of time with my family. And that's something I also want. So I'm constantly exuding the things that my ideal client wants, be that through naming it in content, be that through showing it. But I'm always kind of like just putting it out there so that they also feel comfortable making a decision about like spending, for example, 40K on me, because they know we are aligned. Is that making sense? So for example, I had a 100K sales week 2 months ago, when I wasn't even in a launch, and something I did there was not about me, but I was in a really fancy setting, and I'd just gotten a message from a client who had doubled her revenue since starting to work with me just in a single month. So I started my story with that hook. So it wasn't about something I had, but about something they want. They want to double their revenue. And then I positioned myself as an authority, like, do you also want that? I have 3 spots open to talk about this, So constantly thinking about how am I attracting those people? Am I positioning myself as an authority? And I think that's the biggest tip I can give you here, because so often, like, how do you expect to attract a high ticket client walking around in sweats? George Clooney also doesn't look like shit when he's selling this fancy Nespresso cups. You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't mean that you have to lie about who you are. It just means that you have to highlight certain things. So yesterday I had put on a really nice dress and some lipstick for my boyfriend. And I also know, this is the moment where I need to take a couple of photos and some videos, or this is a good moment to make a story, because actually he was gone by that point and I was there all like dolled up. And I was like, well, this is a great moment to create some content, because I know right now I kind of exude what my ideal client wants, because they want to be a millionaire, but they still also want to feel feminine. So it's all about what you are putting out there, and you cannot expect people to spend a lot of money on you if you're not kind of like reciprocating that. It's like when I have a one-on-one VIP day with clients, I'm not going to put them in my basement, right? I'm going to rent a nice space for them to spend time at, or maybe I'll do it in my house, but I'll make sure there's really nice foods, or I have my assistant with me to provide a couple of things. So the question, how do I attract my dream clients that can afford me? Well, you start by showing up like them. And it's not easy, because back when I was a fitness coach, I had really, really fancy clients, really wealthy people. And I was driving around in a car that was like almost dead. But that you don't have to necessarily have the money your clients have, but you do then make sure that you look neat and tidy, and you do try to represent some of the values or the day-to-day stuff that they also have. Otherwise, there's just going to be a massive disconnect between you and your client. So you know all of this now. I think the question that you could ask yourself is, what can I do in my day-to-day content to elevate it and to attract more of my ideal client? What do they want that I'm not showing? Or what do they want that I'm currently, like, for example, for me, it could be just booking a plane ticket or going to a nice hotel or working remotely. Maybe I do that, but I forget to show it. This is one of those things for me. I often forget to show the stuff that my clients actually want. So show the thing that they actually want. A good example is a fitness coach is always walking around in fitness clothes, but people want to look and feel really sexy on the beach, for example. So maybe it is a fitness beach pic. And that doesn't mean that I feel like you need to show yourself in a bikini online. Definitely not. But it could be that, right? Because people aren't paying you to also walk around in sweats. That's your identity as a personal coach. The identity of your client is probably that they're badasses showing up on stage and they want to feel good on stage and energized or hot on a date or something. So maybe you want to take that into account and show more of your own badass or feminine side, that you also get to look really good and not just always in training wear. And once you know all of that, you try to filter out what you're not going to do and what you're going to do in your day-to-day life. So for me, that meant if I wanted people to invest in me so that they would become financially independent and also look and feel good without burning out in their business, it meant that I also had to stop showing my face when I was barely awake in my PJs and looking like crap. And that's not a lie. It's just I chose to not highlight that in most of my content and start just looking better in my content. Conscious decision. It happened. And by the way, it worked. So what do you do then? Then basically what you will always do if you want to attract the right clients is you are going to click, stick, and convert. I'm going to highlight this really shortly, but I think I've already given enough value in this episode stuff for you to think about. Like, how do you position yourself? I don't know if any of this made sense to you. It made a lot of sense to me. What you're then going to do is you're always going to think about click, stick, convert, click, stick, convert. Click is how do I hook people into my video, into my story? The hook could be an amazing review that you got from a client, which is what I did when I got that amazing review in from the client and I was in a cab and I showed it. And then stick, you do something where you talk to your listener, your viewer, which is the actual content of what you're saying. So this could be the body of the email. And then the convert is you get people to take action. And you always close off with a call to action. What I see happening is most people just immediately start with the stick part of their content. They're already in the storyline, but they're not hooking people into the story. This is like when I'm promoting a podcast and I'll be like, here's the podcast. No one cares. Whereas when I'm leading it with my client went from making 5K to 50K, all while spending more time with her son. Discover how she did it. And then there's an episode. You're going to listen to that versus here's my new episode with my client. So you really want to think about how you're making people click, how you're reeling people into the piece of content. And this is the same with clients. I see so many people just offering their program. You shouldn't be offering your program. You should be offering the transformation of what you're offering. So the transformation was going from the 5 to 50K months or spending more time with her son. The program was something she can follow in order to do that. But we are selling what people want, not what people need. What people want is the transformation. That's the very best tip I can give you about that. So think about your content. Try to make a story set or a reel or an email where you really think just a bit longer about your hook. How do I make people click? And then how do I make it stick? How do I keep it interesting enough? Delete unnecessary text. Subtitle your videos. Like if I see you posting videos and not even subtitling it, like do you not want people to listen to your video or what you're saying? Like 80% of people are still watching without sound. So please, for the love of everything, just subtitle your videos and then convert. Always convert them somewhere. It could be to the comments. It could be to DM you. Make that very specific. So for me, that means if you want to join my millionaire mastermind, I'm closing up the last couple of spots. DM me the word millionaire on FastForwardAmy on Instagram and let's talk about it. So that's very specific, like DM me the word millionaire. And if you can, include a little bit of fear of missing out. So for me, I just did that. I said the last couple of spots. As I'm pre-recording this, I don't know how many I will have left by the end of August. I know that I only have my 4 last spots. I already got an application form in yesterday from someone. So I'm basically in August selling out my last couple of spots for the retreat in October and for a year-long coaching with me at the current price point, including one-on-one coaching. So if I'm making a story about that, I will say I only have like hook, making people click, stick. This is what we can do together as well. La-di-da. Do you want that? I only have 2 spots left to make it happen this year and get me as your coach, including one-on-one calls at the current price point. DM me millionaire and let's see if this is a fit for you. That could be an example. By the way, all very true, by the way. You can just actually also DM me millionaire if you are interested. So I'm never just putting something up there and be like, hey, do you want to become a millionaire? Text me. Like that doesn't work. People won't just text you. They need very clear instructions. They need very clear proof that what you have to offer is good. And they will only take action on something like that if they feel like they were able to relate to you beforehand already. So I hope some of this helped. I have so many more tips, but these are some of my basic rules. I think if you want to attract your dream clients that can actually afford you, is make it so that they want to be able to afford you and make it a little bit aspirational. This is especially true for high tickets Obviously, for lower ticket offers, this is less relevant, but as we are currently talking about working towards 6 figures, I think most of us want to work with clients who have a certain quality and who want to afford you with ease. So this doesn't mean that you have to show a fancy bag or anything, just exude the right stuff and maybe show a little bit less of the stuff that's not relevant for your ideal client because you're kind of clouding up your brand and you want it to be a little bit more crisp. Okay. All in all, if you're not ready yet to get into coaching with me, I do want to say I also have payment plans, obviously, for my mastermind. But if you're currently working towards those 6 figures and maybe even towards the 7 figures, I don't know if you've heard it in the last couple of episodes, but this has been my most downloaded training ever, is my million method. And I actually only put it up for a limited time. So what happened is I was in a coaching situationship with my client. I was helping her to build her 6-figure brand, and I really wanted her to be able to grow towards 7 figures in a way that allowed her to spend more time with her kids, to stop working evenings, to work 80% online. So I showed her my million method that I'd been teaching my clients inside of my mastermind, and she was blown away. And after she left, because we did it in my office, I was like, well, I should really record a training on this. And that is my million method training. It's a short training, video training of me with a little bit of what do you call it, a mind map, and I'll show you how you can build $1 million business, but these principles also apply to building a 6-figure business. So if you haven't downloaded it yet, make sure you go and do it through fastforwardamy.com/access million, or simply DM me the word method on Instagram on FastForwardAmy, and I'll shoot it over to you. And then I think next week's episode is going to be part 4 of the 6-figure secrets series, which is going to be all about how to structure your calendar so that you can actually make the 6-figure year happen. Okay, have a really great day. I hope you liked this episode. I feel like it was a bit more messy, but let me know if you did like it. Leaving a review would be the absolute bomb. Just between you and I was looking at my reviews and they are so old because I always forget to ask for them. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, it would mean the absolute world to me if you could leave a written review, because I feel like no one actually cares about this podcast. But then I meet people in real life and they tell me they listen to my podcast, and I'm like, could you please leave a review? Because it is almost embarrassing how old my reviews are on this podcast, okay? Would really appreciate that. And then I'll talk to you next week. Bye. Hey, before you go, I have something really exciting to share, because in the last year, I have been lucky enough to have clients fly all over the world to work with me. I've been selling out my mastermind programs, and people have just been literally messaging me, hey, how can I work with you? And some would say that's luck, but it's actually not luck. Over a year ago, I decided to build myself a system that would allow me to be offline, plan content ahead, and just get leads and sales in every single day. And for the first time ever, I am opening this up to teach other people how they can build their own marketing machine. So this is called my authority system. And in 90 days, I can teach you how you can become the go-to expert in your sector who everyone wants to book. We're talking getting premium clients in who want to pay you in full. We're talking premium clients who pay your worth, who don't negotiate your prices. And you are finally going to be the one who gets invited to the podcasts and the events and all of that. Now, this program is only available by invitation and spots are extremely limited. And the first people who sign up will also get a discount. So if you are tired of being the best kept secret in your industry and you want to become the authority, message me invite on Instagram and I'll send you an invite to the closed list, or just simply go to the link in the description of this episode. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on this one. Hey, before you go, I have something really exciting to share, because in the last year, I have been lucky enough to have clients fly all over the world to work with me. I've been selling out my mastermind programs, and people have just been literally messaging me, hey, how can I work with you? And some would say that's luck, but it's actually not luck. Over a year ago, I decided to build myself a system that would allow me to be offline, plan content ahead, and just get leads and sales in every single day. And for the first time ever, I am opening this up to teach other people how they can build their own marketing machine. So this is called my authority system. And in 90 days, I can teach you how you can become the go-to expert in your sector who everyone wants to book. We're talking getting premium clients in who want to pay you in full. We're talking premium clients who pay your worth, who don't negotiate your prices, and you are finally going to be the one who gets invited to the podcasts and the events and all of that. Now, this program is only available by invitation and spots are extremely limited. And the first people who sign up will also get a discount. So if you are tired of being the best kept secret in your industry and you want to become the authority, message me invite on Instagram and I'll send you an invite to the closed list, or just simply go to the link in the description of this episode. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on this one.